Oh my gosh, I just finished High School Musical, the musical, the series, and this season was somehow the best season. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Lauren's Take. Okay, so as you saw in my little pre intro video, I watched High School Musical, the musical, the series, season 4, and I am just in awe. I don't know what it was. I'll go into the specifics of why I've even done that. So before we go into it, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and let's get into it. All right, so here's the thing. Y'all probably didn't even know I watched High School Musical, the series. I did. I watched it when the very first season came out back in 2020. I was obsessed with it then, but then all this stuff happened with Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett, and I was like, I don't know if I want to keep watching. And so when the second season came out, I think I watched the first episode, and then I just never watched the rest of it until I think last year. I think I just randomly binged all of season 2 last year before season 3 came out. Then I watched season 3, and so I was very excited for season 4, but also really sad because I knew that it would be ending, and especially because season 3 was really good. So then season 4 came out yesterday. I binge watched the first the first 7 episodes, and just watched the last episode today because I wanted to be able to watch it on the TV. I've been watching most of it on my computer yesterday because I was just sitting downstairs and just watching it. But I had binged it, literally binged it. I just waited so I can get my emotions in check and whatnot. But I can definitely say that last episode had me crying multiple times. I just this is the first time I'm doing a review on High School Musical, the series, and it's the main reason why is because it was so good. Oh my goodness, it was just so good. I loved it tremendously. I'm trying to think of one thing that I thought was bad about it, but it was what I just wanted to talk about was really just I'll overall just give a quick summary of what the season was. Kind of talk about where, we left things at the end of the last season, and then kind of how did they build on it? How did they finish everything out? How did it end? And then also just its overall impact on me, because y'all, I am just so happy. Just so happy. It was literally one of the best final seasons of a show ever, genuinely, because I think a lot of shows that I've been watching, a lot of them have been ending unfortunately, but this one was just so well done. So let's get into it. So the whole point of season 4 was basically there was multiple things happening, right? So Miss Jen, the theater teacher at East High, she was like, all right, y'all, so we're going to do High School Musical 3 for our next musical. Everyone was so excited, all that. But then they found out that another, this whole movie situation company was going to be doing High School Musical 4. And what was just really funny about that is just that, if you have been a big High School Musical fan, you know that's something that we've all been waiting for. And it's mainly because, the show was kind of what we got instead of High School Musical 4, because I know they were at one point doing actual auditions for it. Corbin Blue showed up to it and everything, and we were all really excited about it, but then nothing happened until we got the show. So the show was our High School Musical 4, hence why I watched it. But anyway, so they're doing High School Musical 4, so that's happening. In the midst of High School Musical 3 happening, Gina steps in for one of the people who was supposed to be playing the main female lead in High School Musical 4. Ended up the male lead and the female lead didn't have a lot of chemistry, so Gina ended up getting cast in High School Musical 4. And then she was trying to be Gabriella in High School Musical 3 with Ricky. Ricky and Gina are together. They're trying to understand that they have a secret relationship for the first half of the show. Then the second half of the show, they let everyone know. They start dating. Even though this kind of gets into my analysis, so I'm not going to go into it. So they almost break up, but they don't break up, and then things go well. But then, once High School Musical 4 is finished shooting, because there weren't enough people in the High School Musical 3 cast, Then that gets canceled by the Principal Gutierrez, and then they have no idea how they're going to do it until the actors who play Coach Bolton and Miss Darvish from the original High School Musical films, who were also in High School Musical 4, come back, give quarter of their salaries to the drama department to put on High School Musical 3. They do it, and in the end, everything's happy. Whew, that's the gist. There was a lot of drama in there. There was a lot more than that. We have, like, in terms of, like, plot lines and little things with characters and whatnot, Courtney, our sister girl, one of our main characters, Courtney, she's going, applying to college. She and Ricky are the seniors in the cast, or in the show. In the cast, I mean, Joshua Bassett and Dara Renee, they are Ricky and Courtney. And they are the two seniors and the whole drama club department. Everyone else is pretty much juniors and sophomores. So they're the only two that are actually graduating. But Courtney is the only one who's, like, really paying attention to the fact that she's graduating. Like, Ricky is in his own way, but not in the same way as Courtney. Courtney is more like, I'm going to apply to all these Ivy Leagues, going to do that. But then she gets introduced to Lewis College, and in the end, I think it's pretty much mentioned that she ends up going to Lewis College, and so that's really cool. Ricky, he's so concerned about what's going on with Gina and the play and the movie and everything, and then getting jealous of the male lead, Mac, who is in High School Musical 4, who's starting to catch feelings for Gina, but Gina is all about Ricky, so he doesn't realize, and Ricky, again, is trying to learn, grow up, and whatnot. But anyway, he ends up getting in college as well, and in City College in Salt Lake, because Miss Jen and his dad filled out an application for him, and she wrote a stellar recommendation, according to Mr. Mazzara, who is the AV teacher as well as the club as well as the school counselor. And so so Ricky's going to college too, but he is kind of just really torn, like, the entire season. And then there were just, like, a lot of drama with Ashlyn. Ashlyn, at the end of the last season, we know that she comes out as bi in her own way, not as, like, it's not official because Big Red, her boyfriend, didn't know. And then Big Red, at the end of the documentary, of the mockumentary of season 3, when they were, at Camp Shallow Lake, he came out as bi as well. But Ashlyn didn't tell him until later in the season. That connects to Carlos, because Carlos and Seb have a big mess up issue in their relationship, even though they're, like, one of the most just chill couples in the entire series. They end up having their own issues because Seb cheated on Carlos while he was at Camp Shallow Lake, and he had cheated on him actually with, believe it or not, Big Red. So that was a big thing in there. So it was like a lot of just craziness things happening. But one second, my computer's about to die. All right, we're back and charged up. Anyway, moving on. So coming back. So that's what's happening with Carlos and Seb, Big Red and Ashlyn. Big Red and Ashlyn end up breaking up because both of them, of course, are trying to explore who they are. But Ashlyn also has feelings for Maddox, a character that was introduced in season 3. Courtney, connection to Maddox, her brother, Jet, cutie pie. He still has things for Courtney. Wait. Sorry, y'all. I don't know. Okay, the charger, like, was charged, but that outlet for some reason was not working with the plug. I don't know. It was weird, but we're back to the point. Courtney and Jet. Jet likes Courtney. Courtney's really not... That was, like, the only thing that was never really, like, fleshed out. It kind of was fleshed out in the end. But yeah. But anyway, that's like the gist of what happened. And then also Miss Jen, she was, she and Mr. Mazzara, that's been a will they, won't they, the whole show. And in the end, they do end up together. So I think that was, like, kind of the cute part about this season. It was chaos. Me trying to just explain it all. I'm like, wow, a lot happened. But it was really great. And I think what I really wanted to kind of talk about, I just did that so you kind of know where we are. In the end, Ricky and Gina do end up together. Things end out well, based off of the fact that the big conflict that ended up happening, that was at least in the last 2 episodes. Gina got cast in the director Quinn is the director, her Romeo and Juliet reimagining that was going to film in New Zealand, And Gina's mom knew, and Miss Jen knew, but Ricky didn't know. And Gina was trying to tell Ricky the whole time, as was Ricky trying to tell Gina that he loved her first, because he wanted to finally be that person to say it first rather than kind of be behind as he usually has been in the past. And that was kind of like his big character journey, like the whole time, getting out of the same things that he'd been doing multiple times or messing up things for other people because of him. And so that's kind of, again, that'll be more in my analysis of the show in terms of how well it did and whatnot. But anyway, in the end, Gina had taken the role, but in the end, after all of this sadness, and Ricky had kind of come to terms with, I gotta let her do her thing. I gotta let her go on. I'm not going to keep her back, because that blew up in his face with Nene back in season 2. So he was like, no, I'm going to let you go. And she was like, I thought he was going to fight more, but she was like, no, this is not what I want. I want to do this movie, but I want to do it in Salt Lake City because I want to stay at East High to do the next spring musical, to hang out with my peeps, to spend kind of the last semester with Ricky, because he's a senior, so the last semester is coming up for him. And so she could just have that with them, and she never got that in the past, so that's why. So it's really cute, and I adored it. So yeah, who child, that's what happened. So they ended up filming in Salt Lake. Everything ended out perfectly. Pretty much everyone ended up together that was supposed to end up together. In the end, Miss Jen and Mr. Mazar were going to go to New Zealand instead of Gina and Mac, he ended up just getting out of the movie completely. So it was like kind of chaos. And so, yeah, that was a lot. But that's like pretty much everything kind of fleshed out in terms of what I'm talking about in terms of my analysis. All right, so why I love this season so much. My biggest thing, I actually tweeted when I was on episode 5, I tweeted, and I had said, I just have to say these characters have grown so much, and it's making this season even harder to watch, because it's like they finally grew. They finally, they became more adults, and I was so proud of them for that. And it was hard. Here's why I liked it, though. The funny thing is, this is High School Musical, right? So this is like my entire life. I've always loved High School Musical, right? It came out when I was, how old? 4? The first one, the first one came out when I was 4. I was born in 2002. The first movie came out in 2006. High School Musical 2 came out in 2007, and High School Musical 3 senior year came out in 2008. So I grew up loving High School Musical. That was my jam. To this day, I still know all the songs. I've seen all the movies. I don't know how many times. I have all of the movies. I watch them all the time. I'm literally about to have a rewatch-a-thon because of watching High School Musical, the musical, the series, season 4. So yeah, and again, like what I was saying, the fact that I automatically jumped into watching the show because I was like, anything connected to High School Musical, I will watch. I was definitely a High School Musical girl, way over Camp Rock. But the point that I'm making, that was off topic, but the point that I'm making is High School Musical, you would think, I really want to connect it to High School Musical 3 because I think I really, really was happy that they did High School Musical 3 specifically, because my sister and I, we actually watched all 3 High School Musicals last year again, and we were celebrating Amber graduating high school, and of course when you watch High School Musical 3, that's what you're thinking of because it's their senior year. And so my sister and I were like, oh, this is so good. Like, this is so great. But I was just going into my junior year of college. I'm not going into my senior year of college. And with this show, kind of, the first season came out my senior year of high school. Right before COVID started. It literally, I think the first episode came out like early January 2020. And I remember watching it and I was like, oh my gosh. I was so excited about it. And it was funny that this is like the first part because now it's coming out, the end is happening going into my senior year of college. And I feel I've grown so much more in college than I did in high school. High school, I was very much the same. Things weren't great in high school. I hated high school. So I've loved college. I've enjoyed college. And so I kind of correlated what's happening in High School Musical, the series, with what's happening with me in college. And so I think based off of that, a lot of what the characters were going through in this season dealt with a lot of the things that I've been going through as a, college student going into this new phase in my life, because past college, I'm going to be going to grad school. It's like this first big leap that no one that I'm extremely close to, aside from like, I have some family members and friends who have gone to grad school, but like, I'm the first one in my immediate family to go to graduate school. I'm the first one in a lot of my really close friends group to make this big leap. And I think that is daunting in of itself. And so a lot of times when people, when you're leaving high school, it's like going to college, just like a new thing. Like my mom had gone to college, so I had someone who had been to college. And I had a friend who was he was just going through college. So I, again, was more connected to it. So college wasn't that daunting to me. Like a little bit of a change, but I also have been commuting my whole time. So a lot of the things that a lot of people get when they're going to college, it is very new, very different for them. But my college is very close to where I live. So thinking about that, it's different, but it's not, because it's like, it's not far from home. I'm literally still at home. I go home every single day. I see my family every single day. So I think kind of the scary aspects of graduate school is kind of hitting me even before I'm going into my senior year. And these are the things that I'm going to have to be doing, and I think bringing that into perspective, when I was watching High School Musical, the musical series, season 4, a lot of that was like kind of coming into my mind of like, what decision do I make? Especially with Courtney. Like I could really connect with Courtney, because it's like, do I go for like these really high, amazing programs, or do I go to the place that I really feel at home? Because the school that she ends up choosing, Lewis College, is very similar to my college. In the sense that it's not like the first school most people think about, especially in my state. Like most people are just like, you may want to go to this place, or you may want to go to this place, or you may want to go to an Ivy or something. But I remember really loving my school I went to, and I was just like, wow, like I really like this place. And it's been the best decision I ever made. I've loved my college. And I'm going to miss being there with like really supportive people who know me, who have cared to get to know me, who really want to see me succeed in all that I do. So I think Courtney had that moment. And so I think I really correlated or connected with her. So it was really great. But again, with all these characters, all of them had real, like, true self-discovery, true self-examination. And I loved that. I thought it was so, like, grown up of the show. And I think it's maybe because a lot of the actors are pretty much my age. Like most of them are around my age. So I think it's really interesting that the writers and showrunner of the show, they really wanted to kind of make this connect to people, especially seniors, about to graduate from high school. But I think it was also really telling for someone who was in college and really learning these things, because I think these are the things that you don't really pay attention to until you start getting older, and when you start becoming more of an adult and having to do a lot of things on your own and having to kind of really step into these things that you never had to in the first place. And I think that's what I really loved about this season. It showed them all getting scared, and they had this opportunity to potentially not do the thing that scared them, or they had an opportunity to do it, or they had an opportunity to do it, but do it in a space that was more comfortable for them. And so like for Gina, her, wanting to take this big opportunity to be in this film, kind of start this huge career, she decided to say, hey, no, I want to do it in Salt Lake. I want to have this big opportunity, but I still want to be home. I still want to have that. And her being able to determine that for herself was so huge. It's like this self-advocacy aspect that I really loved in this season. And I think the same thing with Courtney. And it was like a lot of the things that they were talking about. And it was something EJ said in the last episode to Miss Jen, actually, when she was trying to decide if she was going to stay at East High to be a teacher, or to be the drama teacher, or to go on the Wicked national tour. And I was like, oh, girl. But I knew she was going to end up being, staying as the teacher. Like, come on. Yes. And he said, you are the person, like, it was like, oh my gosh, it was literally the best line ever. And it was, right, like, you get to decide it. Don't let someone else decide what you want to do, or you get to create that role. It was something like that. You get to design the role that you want. And I think that in of itself is a lot of what I've been having to tell myself, because a lot of times you want to kind of put yourself in this person's shoes and this person's shoes, and you're saying, you see how it worked for them, and you pay attention to what they did in their lives, and everyone's different, and everyone's story is going to be different. How you get to where you get, that's how you get there, and the journey is important, and it should be your individual, unique journey. It shouldn't be someone else's journey. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, especially in the sense of Courtney, she wants to be a big star. And she was like, well, one of my idols went to Princeton and made a career for herself in this aspect and da 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 da. And they're like, but you're Courtney. And you've been able to do all these amazing things here at East High. Like, who says you have to do that in order to make something of yourself? And I thought that in of itself was just like really, really huge and really beautiful. And I think the same thing with Ricky. A lot of the things that EJ had to sit him down, where he was like, you don't have to be the guy that runs away. The fact that you think that you always have to be that person, that's not life. That's not growth. And it's like one of those things that, like, as you get older, and you may hear this a lot in college for my people who haven't gone to college yet, or people who, are still pretty young and are growing. You don't have to go to college necessarily to learn this, but looking at life as always growing. You're always going to be growing in life. I feel if you ever get to a point where you're just like, well, I'm here, this is it, you're limiting yourself. And you want to put yourself in a position where you're always pushing yourself to do more, pushing yourself to do better, pushing yourself to be a better person or better version of yourself. And guess what? There is no final version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you were just sitting there just like, I'm totally fine just sitting here like Ricky was doing, he was just like, yeah, I'm fine. But he was like, but I'm not. I gotta do something about myself. Like, and you also have to be deliberate about what you do in order to get there. And I think that's something that I kept seeing with all of these characters. And yeah. And how the relationship stuff, oh my gosh. And it was funny because I had saw a clip of Joshua Bassett and Sophia Wally talking about Ricky and Gina, talking about how their relationship, how Ricky and Gina's relationship dynamic is one of the best that has been in the show, because it's healthy. And I was like, it is. It's not annoying. It's not frustrating. And it's mainly because they were grown-ups about it the whole time, acknowledging that times were getting tough. And even though Ricky was like, it's just, I can't have more than 10 seconds. Life can be like that. But the good thing was he didn't run away. He didn't give up. He didn't, get an attitude about it or anything. Like, of course you could get upset about it. Like, he did get upset about it. But he knew that he couldn't just let it go, And I think one thing that I really loved EJ was great. He was like MVP in this season because he was really helping everybody out. Because he kind of had his self-discovery moment last season. So this season he kind of came in and helped everyone out. And he told Ricky, in reference to Gina, this is before Ricky was really about to give up. And he was like, just don't give up. Don't stop. Don't let this ruin y'all. And he said, if you do that, if you give up, if you hurt her, I will never forgive you. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, ooh. Like, that was like, also like, dude, you're not going to mess this up after all the crap you put me through, for one. But two, more so in the growth aspect, he's like, you can't allow this one bad day to ruin everything, ruin all this progress, ruin all that you've been through, because you love her, you care. Don't mess it up. And I think that in of itself was just like, but anyway, the final episode, and again, connection to High School Musical 3. I love High School Musical 3. It's really one of the greatest ones. It's so good. The music is amazing, but also just like the plot line is it's one of the more fleshed out of the stories, like in High School Musical. So to me, Amber and I were saying it's the best in terms of story. And really good in terms of music. I don't know if I love High School Musical too, so it's hard. But in terms of just like looking at it in a critical way, it was the one that was in the movie theater. I don't know, So anyway, but I think in connection to them doing High School Musical 3, when they performed certain songs like Now or Never, it was so telling for all of them, all the characters. I thought it was it was such a smart idea to do High School Musical 3 for the final season, because all of what they were going through had strong connections to exactly where each of the characters were at that moment. So, for example, when Gina was singing Walk Away, Gabriella's song in High School Musical 3, perfect, because it was what she was going through, and she's just like, I don't know what to do, I don't think I'll survive a goodbye again, but I gotta do it. Gotta walk away. And then Ricky, when he's saying Scream, which is, I'm sorry, y'all, Scream, that song. But anyway, Ricky singing Scream was everything, because it was exactly what he felt, because he didn't know what to do. He was in such a way, he was like, it's a her, it's a love, will the music ever be enough? That part, Zac Efron though, quick little thing, woo, slate that. But anyway, Joshua did a good job too. But yeah, it was just one of those things, you're just like, y'all, and then I think in the end, when they sang High School Musical, like, I was really singing in my mind, college musical, because yes. Yeah. And it was even more emotional than the iconic jump at the end. And I loved, yeah. So, yes, the last episode was just perfect. I think it was one of the best series finales ever. And it's one of those things that, like, they had enough open that if just randomly sometime down the road they want to bring it back, they could, But yeah, I loved how it ended. It was a good ending. I cried a lot because, again, the just what the characters were saying was just hitting it, girl. I was just like, oh, yes. And it was just good. And again, I will say, real quick, like, my favorite song situation performances, like my top for the season. Can I Have This Dance? The harmonizing of those two, of Joshua Bassett and Sophia Wiley, perfection. But their song in the first episode, where it was just their song that Gina had wrote the lyrics and Joshua or Ricky had made the melody for. Oh my gosh, that was the cutest. I love that song. I also loved when Courtney sang Jump with the, what were they called? The something roulettes at Lewis College. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. I said, she put some soul in here, some gospel up in here. I was living for it. I really love the Nightmares Come to Play or something like that song. I'll have the correct one in the captions again. I really enjoyed that song. I just love that whole sequence. It was so fun. I love anything spooky. Whenever they do anything spooky, it's so much fun. But yeah, that was really good. I also, in terms of like the High School Musical situation, I love the first reunion song. That was like the first thing that we saw in the season, with the OG cast members. Real quick, this was probably actually my only pet peeve. I feel lied to, mainly because I felt that we were going to be getting like the main cast, like the original cast members there a lot throughout the season. they were making appearances throughout. I guess Corbin, because he was really in season 3, he wasn't as much in this. But I feel with like Lucas Grabeel, I think we saw him in 2 scenes. 2. And I was like, what? Martha we saw in 1 scene. I was like, what? I was so sad. I was like really sad. I was glad we saw Coach Bulge, and we saw him a few times, which was great. And we saw Miss Darvis or Allison Reed a lot, which was awesome. And I loved the different things that she was saying. Like, she was spitting wisdom as well. I was crying with a lot of the things that she said. And so, yeah. And I loved how Monique Coleman, or Mo, came in the last episode to talk to Courtney. That in of itself was just so great. I loved that scene. It was so cute and so sweet. But yeah, I was a little depressed about that. I think that was the only thing that I was like really looking forward to, because I think all of us were really looking forward to it. It was like, we finally get the OG cast. And yeah, and then, you know, I think my only, you know, more frustration at the actors, of Zac Efron, Vanessa Hudgens, and Ashley Tisdale. Ashley, I think, just had a baby, so maybe she's okay. But Vanessa and Zach, y'all. But there's tea there, so I don't know if they're ready to act together, but I was just wishing we could have at least gotten like just a cute little cameo. They didn't even have to be there long. They could have just been like, hey, Wildcats, you know, something like that. The only thing I was missing. But aside from that, again, this season, I can't complain. It was a really, really good season, a really good final season. I just gotta give a nice big applause to the cast. Especially those who have been there since season 1. So that, I'm not gonna have everyone's name off the top of my head. Really good. I told you, there's the garage. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it, and sad it's over, but it was a great ending. Alright, y'all, so that concludes this review of High School Musical, the musical, the series, season 4. In the show, I loved the show. It was a really great, if we won't get High School Musical 4, I'll definitely take the show as kind of our, this is our last curtain call, you know. But it's emotional, because it's like the fact that I'm about to graduate college, you know, going, you know, pretty much finishing up, and having this as kind of it. I probably will be watching this throughout I will rewatch this season. I think it was that good that I could rewatch it. But yeah, I really loved it. But anyway, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Don't give it a thumbs down. That's just rude. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and I shall see y'all in the next one. Okay, see you later. Bye.